Hi everyone, welcome to our investment series. Usually we talk about ETF or REITs, and then today we have our guest Elaine from Mirae Global X. Today she will talk about a very potential, interesting sector from China. Elaine, which sector is it?
Thank you, Alton. Thanks for having me here. So today I'm going to share about the China EV, electric vehicle sectors or market outlook and the relevant investment products. So the China EV market, which is the largest EV market in the world, has gradually recovered from the COVID lockdown. So a total of 280,000 new EV were sold in China in April, so representing 50% up year on year. So there are three aspects to consider when we look at this China EV market. First, and more importantly, is the policy supporting electric vehicle as a road to carbon neutrality in China. It was from the State Council meeting that the government is extending the tax exemptions by about 200 billion renminbi, as well as subsidies for EV purchase. Secondly, for consumer, those who are looking for buying a car would want to buy an EV, not just because of the tax exemptions or subsidies, but the environmental concern, saving some fuel costs, as well as buying into the new EV technologies. And finally, the next generation's batteries for the EV and its technology breakthroughs is also something that the investor can look at.
I see. And I understand that Mirae Global X got a China EV ETF. Counter is a 2845. Can you let us know more about this ETF, the relevant index, and those interesting elements of this ETF?
Sure. 2845 represents Global X China EV and Battery ETF. It is a Hong Kong dollars counter, whereby the US dollars counter, the stock code is 9845. So it's actually the first EV ETF in Hong Kong, and the AUM is currently around 6 to 7 billion Hong Kong dollars, which is quite successful or sizable in Hong Kong. I think the objective of 2845 ETF is to fully replicate or track the Solactive China EV and Battery Index, and the constituent selections will be based on the total market cap of the companies, the liquidity, and more importantly, index provider will assess whether these listed companies have significant exposure to the China electric vehicles as well as the supply chain related companies by looking at their core business as well as the major revenue. So it's cover companies such as the EV producer, so the EV makers, the EV components such as lithium batteries, battery production equipment, the basic critical basic materials of making the battery, as well as like charging stations, equipment, so on and so forth.
I see. So it is in one index or in one ETF, it contains the upstream, midstream, and downstream of the electric vehicle industry.
Correct.
I see.
Vertical supply chain.
I see. And for this index or ETF, actually how many constituent stocks are there, and how often the index or the ETF will do the rebalancing?
So this is the ETF is a basket of securities that contain top 20 China EV related company in terms of their total market cap.
Right.
And 2845 is rebalanced and re-rated half yearly in every January and July.
I see. And what are the top one or two largest constituent stocks in the index?
So the top 5 constituents, the names are like BYD, which is an EV maker, such as CATL, CATL, batteries companies. So these are the names like covering EV makers, batteries, as well as the automation EV technologies.
I see. And finally, what are the investment management fee and what are the minimum investment amount? I mean, it is ETF, so the customers can buy in any broker through the exchange platform. So what is the minimum investment amount, things like that?
So the minimum initial investment is around like roughly 8,000 Hong Kong dollars per lot, depending on the stock price, more or less around that. And there is only one single management fee of 0.68% we charge. And you're right that ETF is, the advantage of ETF is like they trade like stocks through the brokers or banks.
I see. Well, today I learned a lot from you, the China EV industry, from upstream to midstream to downstream, and your company's ETF. Thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Alton.
And finally, I forgot to mention, if a customer is buying ETF or US share or Japanese stocks or even A shares through Phillip's online platform, there will be zero commission and zero stamp duty as well. So again, thanks for Elaine's time to share with us your 2845 ETF. Thank you.
Thanks, Alton.